You perhaps wouldn't think it, but Worksop Priory here can still offer elements of peace and quiet, and you could say tranquility, despite being in the middle of a large town. But the Priory walls behind me offer sanctuary for the long-legged harvestman, Liburnum sp.A, a species which Dennis and I found new to the UK on a house wall not far from here back in 2009. 3 years elapsed, and then 3 years to the day we found it on here, and ever since then we've come back several times every year to monitor the population. And since Delissa's death in 2019 I've maintained that surveying, and here we are again 6 weeks after I last visited here on June the 4th and found 50 subadults and juveniles on all of the 4 sides of Worksop Priory. Despite the dry sun, the very hot extreme conditions, will any of them have survived? They must be finding it difficult to find any kind of moisture at all, and I think we won't get a total of 50 today. Well, the grass in this old part of the graveyard here on the southern side of Worksop Priory has really suffered, as you can tell, but it's the same everywhere. This is where I'm going to begin my survey, and I have already found one small group. I've not counted them yet, but we are missing some. The other side of the entrance that you can see there that juts out to the left is usually where the first aggregation is, but it isn't. Not today, it's absent. I've often wondered whether these harvestmen do move around in periods of very dry weather, looking for somewhere that holds at least a degree or two of moisture. There's very little of that on this side of the Priory. Well, here's one of a group of 11, and they're tucked in probably the only shady spot on this southern side. The group have split, but they are still immature because any Liburnum sp.A with white leaves such as this are not full grown. They're still subadults, but beautifully marked, and this one's off, and you can see the remains of an old molt. Well, very slowly these will start to aggregate back together, but 11 there appears to be, and that's their favourite corner. So a nice start. I still can't see that 50 is possible again. Well, thankfully some, in fact I'll count now, 2, 4, 6, 8 here, have found and are using one of the well-known and well-used aggregation points. It's just under an archway here on the southern side of Worksop Priory. All still subadults, of course, all in loose aggregation so far, but we're on to 19, so that's not too bad. There's another archway on the eastern side that we'll obviously have a look at. That's probably a really good place for them today, because that temperature is going to rise again today, and these are going to face another day of struggling to find moisture. Well, disappointing news, because I expected to find a good aggregation of Liburnum sp.A in the archway behind me, but there isn't a single one. Maybe that did get some very strong sunlight in the first part of the day over the last few weeks, and that's hopefully driven them round onto the northern side, which is my next checkpoint. We're on 19, so that's better than I was hoping for, to be honest. It'd be nice if we could get somewhere near 50 once we've had a look on the nooks and crannies and sheltered parts of the north side of Worksop Priory. Well, that's proved very disappointing. Not a single live Burnham species A on this shaded northern side of the priory. Just got the western end or the front of the priory just to check, which doesn't usually hold many, if at all, but we'll see. I'll have a wander around. It's a very disappointing count, but not totally unexpected. I had hoped that we would get a few on this side. Where do they all go if they are still alive? They must seek out shade and shelter, but we've had very little evidence that these harvestmen go higher up, so let's hope that some reappear on the next time that I come round this side. But just a quick check now of that western frontage of the priory, and then it's back home.